Welcome to Afros and Audio's Black History Month interview series. My name is Talib Jasir, founder and CEO of Afros and Audio Podcast Festival, the first two-day conference for and by Black independent podcast creatives and audio professionals. I'm excited to spotlight 28 outstanding indie podcast creatives who answered the call to be a part of the series. Today, my guest is Chrystyan Cross. Welcome and thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so tell us a bit about yourself.
All right, so my name is Chrystyan Cross. I'm originally from Fort Worth, Texas. I'm 34 years old, and I am also an educator. I am a substitute paraprofessional for the Oklahoma City Public School System, and I also work virtually with the Los Angeles Unified School District. And my podcast, The Monthly, we do advocate for women's reproductive justice, health, period health, and the like. And I have stage 3 endometriosis and PCOS, so that is part of the reason why I started this.
All right, and talk to us a little bit more about the monthly. Why the title? It's very much aligned with the brand and the message, but it came from somewhere. And one day you were like, monthly, that's it. And then
Right.
talk to us about your why or the why for other women, why you decided to use this platform to speak out about women's reproductive.
So again, the monthly is a catalyst for women that deal with issues with the reproductive system. If you've had an interesting pregnancy or experience other women around you with the same, this is for y'all. We are a period positive, woman positive, body positive community. And a part of the reason why I started the podcast was I worked for an employer and I had everything documented on file since I started there that I have reproductive issues. At the time, I was experiencing ovarian cysts that could rupture at any time, and I made that be known. And so they didn't honor that. I got suspended for it. And so in that 6 days of suspension, I said, maybe I should make another social media page, another Facebook or Instagram. And I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and she said, why don't you just do a podcast? And I was like, you know what? Babe, you onto something. Okay, you're right. That happened in February of 2022 last year. And from February up until May, I did a lot of research on women and the maternal mortality rate in hospitals, period poverty, things of that nature. I spoke to women of all races, places, and spaces about their personal experiences. And I combined all of that and I started the monthly. The reason why it's called the monthly is because, of course, we have our lady time once a month. We all know how that goes, ladies. It's for y'all. It's generalized information, facts, fem facts, and just a safe space where women can come and talk about their issues. These type of issues tend to be taboo and forbidden. And I think that's the reason why a lot of the laws in the country are like they are, but hey, that's another story. But this is just a safe space for women to come and feel seen.
All right, that's amazing. And when you consider the format of either solo podcast or interview podcast, what made you decide on which way you were going to go?
In the beginning, I wanted to do more of a solo thing, but the more women that I encountered, that I conversed with in just mixed company, I wanted to have women on to be able to really see these experiences and share these experiences with other women. Because if I feel like if it was just about me, I wouldn't have even had to make a podcast. I would have ventured out and did my own research just to help myself. But I want to, if I can just help one person, I'm helping somebody. Somebody is able to feel a little better about what their situation is. And I said I wanted Black doulas because, of course, this platform is for all women, but with priority to my Black women. We are the number one race in hospitals that tend to succumb pre, post, during childbirth. We are the race that is misdiagnosed with conditions. And so, yes, this platform is, I vehemently stress this, that it is for all women, but it is in priority to my Black and brown women because I feel like we are the most endangered with this. So yes, I want the Black doulas. I want everyday mom. I want the one that suffered from postpartum. I want the one that has cervical cancer. I want the herbalist. That is what my platform is for.
That's really important and so necessary. The podcast has been going on for about 6 months.
9,
9,
actually.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Congratulations.
We're
So
almost a year old.
that's amazing. Congratulations, because podcasts don't last long. Sometimes they
Correct.
one episode out and then folks fold on the vision and the message for various reasons. So congratulations on making it to 9 months and to many more. So as you have taken the opportunity to interview other women, meet other women, I'm assuming it's going to be folks that you know and had awareness of before you started your podcast, and then women you've met. How has that kind of expanded your own knowledge and perspective on women's reproductive?
Yes. So to be brutally honest, on both sides of the tape, women I know, women I don't know, I have been mind blown by the responses I've received, by the situations, even people I've known all my life have been through, and they've just kept silent. And having the monthly is being a voice for the voiceless. If you are brave enough to speak, then this is for you. Even if you're not, it's still for you. And so again, with women I know and don't know, I've heard so many things that you couldn't even fathom that would happen with the woman, and the things that they endure and prevail over. You know what I mean? So yes, all these women have definitely inspired me, because my condition, I'm like, damn, this is bad. But it's always someone somewhere else that could be doing worse than you are. And so being able to hear these stories and internalize these stories, it's been an honor.
And is there any specific interviewee or podcast episode that really stands out to you that was like, this is why I'm here, this is why I'm doing this?
So this is one of my favorite stories to tell. It was actually episode 2. It was right after I'd launched, because I launched last year on my birthday. We'll be a year old in May. And June, they had already been whispering about it during the earlier part of the spring, but the Roe versus Wade law was overturned literally a day before I filmed my second episode. So I had to revise so many notes, and I was angry because it happened on a Friday. I was to film that next day on a Saturday. And just even the women that I talked to the day that it happened, it just lit a bigger fire in me. Yes, this is why I need to be doing this. So when I did start filming that next day, the episode was actually about the reproductive conditions and how you can identify them. But I spent that first 15 minutes putting government officials on notice, expressing my disdain, expressing anger of women all over this country, because we're being attacked at this point. So episode 2 is Giving Hopeless, which was the title of that episode, was truly befitting. And from there, it was a catapult for the rest of the monthly.
Wow, yeah, I can imagine it's very much a personal issue. And again, as you mentioned, an attack on women's rights and women's reproductive rights. It's not only something that impacts women, it impacts everyone in the world, but specifically women's bodies and women's rights. And so as you move this forward and you think about how you would like to curate the monthly as you expand into 2023 and move into your first year, what are some of the visions that you have for the impact of the monthly?
Yes, going forward, I know that in this first season, I centralize a lot of women that are probably still in childbearing age, 18 to, in some cases, 50 years old. But I want to let the rest of my following know that this is, again, a platform for our women. So I do want to expand out into the adolescent stage, when a girl first gets ready to start her cycle, what to expect, things of that nature. The mom that doesn't really know how to speak to her daughter about that situation, I want to make it a safe space for them. Also, my older following, menopause, premenopause. What do you do? How do you approach your doctor? What are your feelings? How are you individually, physically, mentally able to get forward with this? So I want to expand this out more to my younger and my older following. So of course it can be inclusive for them. So that is a very big thing that I'm focusing on for 2023. Also, I want to be able to venture out a little more. Let's go into your comfortable setting. Let me come to you. Let's talk about this. Let me have you. And let's go ahead and get this out so we can have advocacy and make this reach broader. Also, as far as like speaking engagements, things of that nature, I am an educator again. So being able to see these young girls be frightened to speak on things of that nature, I want to be able to go out into the schools. I want to be able to go to these employers so that they can implement things in employee workbooks and handbooks as well, just to be able to be more inclusive to women. So those are my goals for this year.
Those are great goals. And we know that sex ed has grossly failed students in the school system, and that this willingness to speak unapologetically about the right of a woman to have ownership over her own body, to be able to advocate for herself, it's something that is going to empower so many people. And to be able to start that at a young age, those first doctor's visits, and to be able to have the language, because that's something that we see a lot, especially again, with the failures of our school system. And then with that being the parents are also have been failed, and or familial pathologies to stay silent and not speak up. It makes an impact. And it makes an impact on the ability to advocate for yourself and the ability to speak truthfully for whatever it is that you got going on. So it's necessary work. And I love that that's your mission, and definitely anything that we can do to support that mission. That's why I asked that question, because there's people that are going to be watching that says,
Right.
absolutely, this is necessary. And so again, great goals and great mission. When you started and you had yourself as your experience, this is me, I know what I've gone through, I know the things that I've had to deal with at the doctor's office, what have you. As you explored more and got more into the research, what would you say was something that really shocked you or that you didn't really have on your radar as you started the monthly?
So just the maternal mortality rate in these hospitals, I knew that it was bad, but I didn't know the extent of how bad it was. So there was a documentary, I believe it is still on Hulu at this time. It's called Aftershock, and it details the story of two gentlemen of color. I believe both of them are in the New York area, actually, that both lost their spouses right after childbirth, and they're single fathers, and so they're in advocacy, and they go all over the country to spread awareness on being able to speak up to your doctor, speak up when you're hurting, and them take you seriously. And it's a riveting watch. It's a hard watch, but it's a watch, and it is very required. And so past just watching that documentary, doing my own research even more into just the people around me that have experienced the doctor telling them, okay, I don't feel like this is good enough for you. We're going to go ahead and do the C-section, or I don't feel like you have to have that surgery. It made me really tap more into what the hell is going on in these hospitals? What's being missed? Is it purposeful or is it accidental? What is going on in these hospitals? And I believe it's probably the most jarring thing that I'm continuously learning about, even actively, with women and the protection of our bodies, especially in these hospitals.
Absolutely. And speaking of documentaries, and I'm glad you mentioned it as reference, the 1619 project that's on Hulu currently, also a second episode talks about this and
Okay.
origin of the history of enslaved women who were experimented on and all these things for the current way in which people are treated. The current field in and of itself of gynecology was started with experimenting on Black women and without anesthesia, because Black bodies don't experience pain. We're workhorse. We can have a baby in the field and then keep working. So it was that mindset and that origin that still informs the hospital and the medical field to this day. So it is important that people understand the history, but also understand that just because the conversation just started doesn't mean that this is not what's been going on forever.
Right.
So it makes it this much more necessary when folks like yourself are willing to shine a spotlight on it, not only for the world, but for Black women, Black and brown women, to be able to say, yeah, I did have a dismissive experience. I did feel discarded. And I thought this is how it goes, but nah,
Right.
there's what's wrong with this. And now I get to do it different and show up differently for myself because it's a trickle down effect for the whole family. So I really appreciate what you're creating here. Since you started, what would you say has been your biggest win for the monthly?
I would have to say making that 6-month mark, because again, like you mentioned earlier, podcasts generally don't last past the 6-month mark, the 1 month mark. And so even in that first 6 months, I experienced so many, again, trials and tribulations, as I'm sure every podcaster does in some degree. And I almost gave up. I really did. I didn't feel like I would be enough any longer. I didn't feel like the message would reach as far as I ideally wanted it to. But again, these women, these stories, that was my engine to keep going. And so making that 6-month mark, being able to include some of the women that I've spoken with in that particular episode, and just being able to celebrate them as I celebrated that win for myself. That was just a very wholesome experience for me.
That's awesome. And how has it changed your life? What would you say has been the biggest impact?
So as far as that impact, again, these women being able to see what it's done for these women, the feedback that I receive, it lets me know continuously that this needs to be done. Like you said, this is work that needs to be done. This needs to be heard. We need to be heard, and we're required. We are important. We matter. And it's just a beautiful experience to be able to continue this and see past my immediate future and know that this has longevity.
Absolutely. And you have a very dope and unique name for your audience. I'll let you say it before I say it.
Okay, yes. So I do call my following the CucciGang. Little backstory on that. In the beginning, when I very first started, when I was still baby, I was gonna call them the Lady Ma'ams. And I went and I revisited it. And I don't know, I think I was like out one day and I was speaking with a friend about the podcast and like my ideas about it and what I want to do going forward, because it was still very early in the process. And I said, it's gonna be like a gang of us. Like it's gonna be like a big group of us, and we're all gonna be on one accord, on the same wavelengths. And can't nobody tell us about our coochies. And then I said, wait, it's the CucciGang. They can be the CucciGang. That's it. So my following is called the CucciGang. They are my loyal followers. They are my own little Rihanna Navy. Like these ladies, they go to bat for what we have going on, and they are very much advocates. And yeah, I love my CucciGang. I love y'all.
All right, bet. A lot of podcasts, especially in this early stage, you're 9 months in, they kind of graduate and grow into engaging with their audience, discovering who their listeners are. So you already have name and you already are engaging with them. So talk a little bit about that. How did you just start that opportunity to learn who your listeners are, your audience, and then begin to build community with them?
Yeah, I had to learn that I needed to implement it into the content more. Yes, I'm giving all of this information. You guys are internalizing it. But what more can I do for you to feel included? So again, I just started implementing it into the content that I would put out every episode, in the descriptions of my episode, things of that nature. I've got a TikTok. TikTok is probably one of the fastest growing social media platforms out right now, and it has the fastest reach. And so I just did it from a pyramid there, started with the TikTok, branched out even more into the YouTube, started letting them know, hey, if you want to be a part of this episode, if you have something to say about this episode, email me and let's get you on. Again, we want to talk about it. Every Wednesday, I have Coochie Talk Wednesdays, and it's usually about something that's going on in the female community, where it's like a hot topic or a current event, even things that have happened in the past, because a lot of women are really out of the loop with a lot of stuff that goes on underhand, and you got to dig a little deep, do a deep dive in some of these things. So I'm bringing that stuff to the forefront. And every Sunday I'll be doing one later on I have the monthly Fem Facts. They are over on TikTok. And I do a Fem Fact once a week, letting a woman know something about your endometriosis if you have a reproductive condition like that, or PCOS, or how did tampons come about, how did pads come about, things of that nature. But I made it feel more inclusive to where they could share their facts and things of that nature, and they be broadcast out to the masses.
That's awesome. And again, you are doing something now that a lot of people are still trying to figure out. How do I include my audience? How do I get them to begin to engaging with me? And frankly, as you said, become loyal and pretty much number one fans of what it is that you're creating. That's awesome. So congratulations on being intentional and determining that this is an opportunity not only for me to represent for this message and this conversation, but also to bring other people in that can do the same for themselves. So I really love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank
So
you.
what's one of your hopes for, we know that the Roe versus Wade was overturned. That happened. It's the wildest thing in the world in 2023, but it happened. What's your hope? What's your dream for women, and not only for health advocacy, but also for women being able to understand how important and that it matters that we continue to keep up the fight? You said the episode of that was, it's given hopeless. And yeah, it looks like that, but it's not hopeless. So the good fight is still here, and then we got to keep it up. So what is your hope for women as we, as a people, continue to fight for women to have body ownership and this ability to fight for their reproductive autonomy?
Indeed. So my hope is simply this: be vocal. Be vocal with the people you love that surround you, your family and friends that are women that could potentially deal or have already dealt with issues of this sort. Be vocal with your doctors when you go in and they say something that might seem skeptical to you. Don't walk away from your appointment or consultation with questions. Ask those questions. Be vocal when you vote. Be vocal in these representatives' offices in your states. Let them know that we are not going down without a fight. We won't stop. We're going to keep calling. We're going to keep emailing. We're going to keep protesting. Continue to be vocal, because you're being heard. We're being ignored, but those ears are definitely open. So continue to be vocal in all that you do, whether you're a stout advocate or you're not. Be vocal even for your family hub, for your people, because it makes that much of a difference. And it has that much of a reach, whether you're doing it privately or publicly. Be vocal.
Absolutely. What do you think this is asked of you? You are powerhouse, that I can tell just by the way in which you are passionate about, especially this topic. Has this asked you to be even more vulnerable than you expected as you started, or was this the way in which you said, no matter what it takes, I'm going to show up for this community?
Oh, absolutely. I was not even in the beginning of starting this uninhibited. It was the more I made episodes, again, the more I spoke to these women, that made me be more outward. I am an outspoken person by nature. That is me by nature. But in this genre, in this realm, with this, again, these are subjects that are pretty much taboo in most female communities, whatever race you are, whatever. This is not stuff that's talked about. I don't know, anything else, any other topic, it's not talked about. Seeing that as that I could be a voice for the voiceless, it made me become more braggadocious with giving people this information, because I know that I'm helping a demographic, whether they engage or not, they're able to see what's going on. So it did allow me to come out of my shell more, speaking in front of a camera more, speaking to women that I'm just out on the street and I run into them and we're just in general conversation. It allowed me to be more brave in speaking the more I got further along in this process. Yeah, I was not, I was a little more tight-lipped. And then I didn't know if I wanted to let everybody know my full spectrum of my situation yet. I didn't think that I did. But again, I knew it was required. So yes, I would say that my shell is completely off now.
That's great. And that's what's special about finding your voice, discovering your voice and being in the work to the point where the plan in the beginning starts to unveil itself and unfold. Congratulations on that. And again, being this early in, I'm really proud of the work that you're doing and the fact that you've been able to already move this forward in the way in which you envision. That's a big deal.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Really quick, last two questions for you. Are there any podcasts that you have listened to that kind of influenced or inspired you as you started to develop monthly?
Yes. So in this house, we are $1 million worth of game, earn your leisure house. Let's just put that out there. We are that. My girlfriend put me on to 19 Keys and all those gentlemen. And even before even fathoming podcasting, that was a staple in our house. Drink Champs, we love Nori. We love DJ Effin. That was a staple in our house. But some more indie Black podcasts that I would have to say are my faves right now. My very good friend from the DMV area, Shakita Johnson, with the Chronicles of a Virgo podcast. She touches a lot on mental health and being able to navigate those avenues, your feelings and things of that nature. Beautiful podcast. She is a beautiful person. And my girls, Samra and Lana over at She Well Read, they are a podcast that dissects books, one book every season. And again, their catalyst is to have women be more well-read. So those are podcasts that circulate in my house often.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. What else you want to promote or share with the folks watching?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I decided, because again, I launched my first episode of my podcast on my birthday last year. My birthday is May 21st. So this year in Dallas, Texas, I am giving a gift to my loyal CucciGang and advocates and lovers of the monthly. I'm having my first annual Coochie Talks Live Women's Symposium. I will have 3 very good friends on the panel. I have moderator Dominique Smith that will be moderating our event. She's an amazing person, and I cannot wait for y'all to meet her. She's going to give y'all right what y'all want on that mic. So please be ready for that. And my 2 panelists are my very good friend from Jacksonville, Florida. Her name is Shariah Montalongo, and she's the owner of Urban Legends. She is a holistic herbalist. And another really good friend of mine, Kenya Walker. This is actually her book, The Path. It's through Affirmations and Life Experience. That's on Amazon. But she is a nationally certified birth doula, both Black, and we are going to be talking about us. And that is happening again in Dallas, Texas this year. I do have links for an Eventbrite ticket if you would like to attend. I'm so excited about this because, again, I want to be able to go and speak out, not just be behind the camera. It takes more than that. So yes, please, if you like to travel, if you're a frequenter of Texas, Dallas to be exact, please come out this year and support us, okay? I sure appreciate y'all if y'all would.
Absolutely. What are the dates for that again?
So that is Saturday, May the 20th, 2023. And the location is to be announced, but that will be from 2 to 4 p.m. again over in Dallas, Texas.
That's awesome. All right, we'll have that link in the description for the Eventbrite. So that's amazing. Where people can find you, can you shout that out? Social media, website, whatever you have?
Absolutely. So across all platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, IG, I am at the monthly, THA monthly, all one word. I am Chris at the monthly on my main Facebook. It's CHRYS at the monthly. And you can reach out to me if you want to collab, would like to be on an episode, or just want to simply support at the monthly at gmail.com.
All right, nice. Any last words you have for the people?
Give yourself grace, ladies. Just, you know what? Scrap that. Us as people, give yourselves more grace. We get in the daily grind of, oh, I got to go to work. Okay, I got to come home, homework with the kids, dinner. Give yourself grace. This world is wicked. It's crazy out here. When you come in from what is outside, give yourself some grace. whether it be 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Give yourself some grace, man.
Absolutely. I completely align with that. So thank you for sharing. And thank you so much for being here today. I think, again, this conversation is so necessary. It's the time that we're in. We need your voice. We need the voices of other women. We need the voice of the people, because women's reproductive rights is important for all of us. And we got to show up. We got to be a part of this movement, because one, it shouldn't even be a movement that we have to be a part of. So here, then we have the right to fight for ourselves and things that matter to us. So again, Chrystyan, thank you for your message. Thank you for your podcast, and definitely thank you for the conversation today.
It has been an absolute pleasure, Talib. Thank you so much for having me on the platform. I appreciate you guys so much.
No doubt, no doubt. Close us out and just stay right there. I want to give a big thanks to our Afros in Audio and Black podcast community for supporting our commitment for community and collaboration. If you'd like to join the Black Podcasters Association, the link will be in the description below. And if you want to join us at the 5th Annual Afros in Audio Podcast Festival, visit bit.ly/AFAUFAQ, which will also be in the description. Follow us on all social media channels at Afros in Audio. And thanks again, Chrystyan, for being a part of Afros in Audio's first ever Black History Month interview series. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.